Hi, I'm Hazel. It's Saturday today, which makes it time to sit down and catch up on the WoW news of the week, what I have been up to, and to answer some of your questions. This week, popular creator Limit Max got to sit down with Ian for another dev interview. They talked about Season 4, rating, Mythic Plus, and the full video is linked in the description of this one if you want to watch it with context. The biggest highlights for me start with the news that Evokers are getting bloodlust in Dragonflight. In an effort to make sure that every group has one, now every group will, because I imagine quite a few groups might feature Evokers, at least at first in Dragonflight. I am very curious to find out what it's called. I don't think we know that yet. That should make sure that most dungeon and raid groups have a lust available, but it also makes Evokers even more powerful just on their own out in the world, since it's pretty useful to be able to lust yourself. We also found out that in a future build, they plan to add battle res to at least one more class, likely Paladin. I think that Paladin makes a great fit. I can really envision them just holding up a book and judging their friends for their failures. Ian also confirmed in this interview that the devs are aware that Druids and Priests are kind of behind in talent tree iteration compared to other classes. He said that they deserve better, and I think we can expect to see more updates for Druids and Priests in the talent trees before Dragonflight comes out. They're certainly not done. They also said that they're making progress on the limitations that are currently preventing cross-faction guilds, and they would like to make that goal, if possible, happen before 11.0, so the next expansion following Dragonflight. They know that it's awkward to have a raid that's kind of split between two guild banks and two guild chats and whatever, so that's something that they're working towards. It feels like cross-faction is putting up a really good fight in terms of technical issues, but they've got great engineers, and I feel better that they're on it. And then at the end of the interview, Ian actually asked a question of Max, which was, how do we, as a community, feel about simultaneous raid release for normal, heroic, and mythic difficulty? They're not announcing anything right now, but they are looking for feedback from the community. And while we're thinking about this, it's worth noting that the raid is almost certainly going to release somewhere in the neighborhood of December holidays. It would either require a postponement or an extremely early release for that to not happen at this point. So having normal, heroic, and mythic come out at the same time could potentially be a tactic to kind of start the race a little bit earlier. I'm personally totally game for it. I don't see a very good reason to not just chuck them all out at once. I think it would be interesting to watch a world first race that didn't have that initial prep week, because you would have the added decisions of how much do they want to farm, like normal and heroic and whatnot, and how much do they want to just charge straight ahead into the immediately available mythic fights if that did happen. I also think that while you're at it, you could just roll LFR out like way faster. I don't think anybody would mind. In today's WoW, I think it feels a little slow to have 2 weeks between each LFR tier release. It means that you don't get to do the final bosses in LFR until like way into a raid tier. Maybe I'm missing something, but I just don't understand why the LFR rollout is so slow. You could argue that it's a tactic to prevent the world first race from needing to get into LFR as well, but I feel like between normal and heroic, they probably don't have to, and if somebody that's a normal raider or heroic raider wants to prepare an LFR, that seems like a good thing to me. You know, they're going to give the LFR group an easier time getting through it, and also have a chance to see the fight in a lower stakes environment before their raid night if that's something that they wanted. So that wasn't part of the question, it was just something that came to mind, but I feel like you could roll LFR out a little faster. So that was the Ian interview. In other news this week, we learned that Dragonriding is going to be getting some special follow technology where you can turn into a whelp and follow your friend's dragon. So once somebody has opted into it at an NPC, other players in your party can interact with your Dragonriding Drake to turn into a whelp that follows along behind at the same pace. This notably will work in the No-Coup Offensive, which is the new dungeon in Dragonflight that involves Dragonriding to navigate around the instance. So if you just really don't want to dragon ride under pressure, then you could maybe talk one of your friends into letting you follow them as a little cute baby whelp. This is first and foremost an accessibility change, and there's plenty of people that use follow pretty heavily while playing out in the world with their friends. So this is a very cute addition for them that should make things easier out in Dragonflight. Other news this week, you can return to WoW and get Shadowlands for free through September the 5th. So that includes a boost and can be claimed through the desktop app if you're eligible. If you check your desktop app, there's a little gift icon by the notifications, and if you are eligible, it should appear under those gifts. So to be eligible, your Battle.net account needs to have previously bought any WoW expansion in the past, but not own Shadowlands on any of your game accounts. So if you left WoW at any point between TBC and Shadowlands and you would like to come back now to get ready for Dragonflight, you can get caught up to current content for free. You cannot use this to get Shadowlands for alt accounts if you already have it for main, and it's worth noting that they're probably going to roll in Shadowlands to the base sub anyways once Dragonflight comes out, so this is just a little bit of a free head start that does include the level 50 boost. Other things that happened this week, the WoW Variety Show went down. That was a very fun event put on by the WoW esports team for the community that I got to participate in. It was hosted by Talias and Inevitell, and I got to compete against Sloot, Bajira, and Aya in a leveling race, and then alongside more community members in a scavenger hunt, and then a finale of a gigantic foot race. I have saved the full recording of it to my Twitch, and I plan to get the different parts of it up on YouTube. It was a super fun thing to get to do, and the whole event kind of had BlizzCon energy, for lack of a better way to put it. I really hope that they do more of those in the future, especially an EU-focused one with some EU people, and maybe at a more EU-friendly time. And then my life this week was more or less just getting prepared and set up for that variety show. I also timed my first plus 20 key of season 4. I didn't really expect to continue pushing keys, but we're all just kind of having fun in season 4, so we've kept going for now. And then I am out of town next week. I am attending an out of town wedding, so I will not be home and I may not be able to get a news video up. Where on earth are you going? That is a very narrow chair top. All right. I don't think I'm going to do a news video next week, but there is an off chance that I just bring a laptop and slap something together from a hotel room. Would you like assistance? So just be informed that there may not be one next week, but I'll try. And then I wanted to make a quick note about spam comments that look like this that myself and other creators have been struggling with lately. Those are not me, and I would never ask anyone to message me on an external service for a giveaway. I'm not on Telegram, I'm not on WhatsApp. Those are a scam. Those have been popping up very rapidly like ugly daisies, and I'm just doing my best to squish them while waiting for YouTube to get their filtering together. And questions for this week. Lucky Online wants to know, what are you working on in Live WoW while waiting for Dragonflight to come out? So, I have been referring to my simple armory and filling in gaps in my pet and mount collection. So right now that means I am farming the Smorgas rare in Maldraxxus for the Corpselos larva. I am farming the Black Bell rares in Bastion for the Larian Pouncer, and I'm waiting for one more Necroray egg. I'm also still raiding and doing keys and leveling alts a little bit, but pet farming is like the thing that I'm most engaged in right now because I feel like I'm dialed into the Smorgas hunt and he's gonna give it up soon. He has to. And then Canny asks, the Dragonflight Priest talents have been out for a while with no changes. Do you think they're finished? And what is your opinion on the lack of flash concentration? So I do not think that Priest talents are finished. I'm fully expecting more updates on those. Of the things that are not currently on the Priest talent tree, I think that Flash Concentration probably has the best chance of finding a spot and making it in there, but personally, just for me, and I know this is subjective, I don't really want it. We've had it for a while, and I feel like I've had enough. It's tough to balance because in its current state, it's so strong that it totally eclipses the normal standard playstyle of a Holy Priest, and I miss my other buttons. I don't think it's going to be worth babysitting a buff for it unless it has really good throughput, and if the throughput's that good, then it kind of outperforms the other ways of playing Holy Priest and makes them wrong. Prayer of Healing is something that I basically never use in the Flash Concentration build, like very, very rarely, and I would like to see it become relevant again. It's just tough when you can outpace everything with just one really strong button. And then Mike wants to know, what plants do you have accenting your background? They're awesome and add a great flavor of color. Why, thank you. So the Monstera cutting that's back there is a Monstera cutting. It's actually trying to put on a new leaf, which I think is very ambitious given that there's not very much light in here, but then again, I did that to it. And then the three that are on top of the shelf, I actually take them out and put them on the shelf to film a video, and then I put them right back in the windowsill where they came from when we're done, because this room really is a goblin cave most of the time. I live in the dark like a worm, so they usually live in the window. I shall show you though. So this guy is a ficus. This is like your standard issue bank plant, but I found that it grows shockingly fast. I didn't expect this thing to be so vigorous. It dries out its pot really quick, and it's been growing. This is some form of a peperomia. I forget the name of the variant, but you know, one of them. There's a billion of them. I like these things. And then this is just a little philodendron Xanadu. I have a tendency to go for plants that are just green. Like if you look in the houseplant section of any hardware store, you'll notice that there's like lots of beautiful polka dots and pinks and oranges, and I like the regular green ones because I have found that they are easier and they're more forgiving of like low to moderate light. So here is my regular old green philodendron Xanadu. I'm hoping that that gets big and lush eventually. I got it from like a teeny tiny little pot not that long ago, so. And then because I'm just rotating them in from the window,
I'll show you the other ones that I have handy that I can also use. This is my Euphorbia cactus cutting that I got from a neighbor that I hope it's rooting, but I'm too afraid to check because I don't want to damage the roots in case it's, you know, just barely started on it, but that thing's a cactus. And then I have a little bear paw succulent that has actually been pretty happy in that window. It's doing stuff. I needed to spin it, which is why it looks very windblown. It's just needs to hang out on the backside. And then I got myself a little itty bitty baby alocasia that I'm interested to see. I've never had one of these before. I always thought they were fussy, but then they had the most beautiful huge ones at Bouchard Gardens, and I thought, I'll try it. You know, I'm a real sucker for plants that you can buy in teeny tiny little pots or like on the clearance rack that are almost dead because they're very inexpensive. And I'd rather buy a small thing that's cheap and see if I can grow it into a big thing than buy a big expensive one and then kill it. Like, that's less fun. So that has been my week. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions for a news video, please pop them in the comments and include the word question to help me find them. I'll be back with another news video on September 10th, unless I whip something out of the hat while I'm out of town. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.